Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, your weekend review edition. This is your host Dean, and per usual, actually, it's not really usual anymore because I've been a truant lately. But I'm here with Coach. What's going on, Coach?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than about an hour ago.
That helps. That helps. And today we have a guest with us, a new guest, and I would like to introduce Barbara Satine. How are you, Barbara?
Hello, I'm fantastic. I mean, I'm also better than I was yesterday. So, it's been a tough weekend for us all, but we're going to make it through. I have no doubt about that.
We're gonna make it through. Barbara's optimism is welcome because we're all fans of really good teams that lost
Absolutely.
this weekend. So,
That's some might say.
Barbara, before we get into it, I typically like to remind the listeners to like, share, and subscribe. So do that, folks. You wonderful folks. But I'd also like to have you tell folks where they can find you on Argore's internet.
Yeah. So I'm mainly on Instagram, so you can find me at Barbara Satine. That's my full name. And I'm also over on TikTok, and I have a YouTube channel that is slowly but surely becoming more consistent. I have a lot of new content that's going to be coming up in the next month for that. So if you're a new soccer fan trying to gain some confidence, or you're, a longtime soccer fan just trying to get a little bit more into the culture, you can definitely follow the channel for that.
Yes, and we'll be posting all of Barbara's socials in the description for the pod and wherever you can find our stuff as well. Thanks for joining us, Barbara. Welcome. Very glad
Absolutely.
to have
Thank you
you.
for
Very
the
glad to have you.
invitation.
All right. Before we get into today's festivities, I would like to remind you that there's an Arsenal edition for you guys to listen to. There might be a United edition. I don't know. There's also an AFCON edition. So go listen to that if you still care about Africans a week after their tournament ended. I know you don't, but go listen to it anyway. It's good for my
They
pockets.
do. They do.
They should.
um, because Barbara is here, we're obviously going to start in the Bundesliga. Barbara, take it away.
Yeah, okay. So this week in Bundesliga, we had a lot going on. So unfortunately, we have Augsburg that stuns Bayern with their first loss of the season. My heart breaks just saying that out loud, but we'll get into that a little bit more later on. Next, we have Dortmund finding form after winning three in a row. I don't know why I had to read that out loud just now because I hate that team with a fiery passion, but moving on. Leverkusen and two-game losing streak.
All right. Thank you, Barbara. And we will start with Bayern 1, Augsburg 2. This happened at the Allianz. But before we get into the details of the game, Barbara, since you're
Mhm.
the guest, how did you become a Bayern fan?
Ooh, it's one of my favorite questions because I get it every single day of my life.
Right.
I completely understand that I do not look like the stereotypical Bayern fan, so it is the number one question that I get. So I became a Bayern fan because I was a Germany national team fan first. Again, that seems random because I am a New Yorker. I'm a Haitian American New Yorker, but I was introduced to football by a German camp counselor randomly in the summer of 2006. The World Cup was going on, and that actually might be one of my next YouTube videos. Is just reintroducing my journey through the sport. But yeah, a German person introduced me to the game. I was watching it every 4 years, like the average American does. And then when Germany won it in 2014, I was just extremely impressed by Bastian Schweinsteiger's performance and just how he moves, his leadership, his style of play, his physicality, all of the above. So I think at that point in my life, I was just like, you know what? I want to watch regular football. I know it plays every weekend.
Mhm.
I'm not a Premier League person, so I felt like I didn't know, I felt like I was behind, you can
Mm.
say. So because I love Germany so much and I love Schweinsteiger so much, I said, you know what, I'm just going to watch whatever team that he's on. And it was Bayern Munich. And funny enough, at the time, Bundesliga didn't have a streaming deal in the US. So I had
Mm.
to find some like random illegal website to watch Bundesliga games on the weekends. And
Allegedly, she found an illegal website.
allegedly illegal. But yeah, I was in my college dorm room watching the matches by myself. I'm sure like nobody I knew the team at the time. And coincidentally, I ended up studying abroad in Germany the following year. So I got to see them play in person.
Coincidentally.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, actually it was between that and going to Bali, and I really wanted to go to Bali, but my Haitian mother was like, "You don't know anybody over there, so if something happens to you, you can't call me." You're not going over there. And the same kind of applied to me for Germany. And I randomly met two Germans at a party in Queens, of all places. And we just hung out the whole night. And I went back home and I said, Mom, I have friends now. Um, so I'll give them your phone number if something happens. And yeah, I ended up going there and got to see Bayern play in person for the first time. And I cried. I'll never forget that day. And I don't know, the rest is history. I've built a community. I've gained a family through all of this. And my love for this team is probably bigger than anything besides, my family and my dog.
Don't worry, you get there. I don't care about my family at all. I only care. You get there. But honestly, I was listening to that story and, I was moved by it. But the whole time I was thinking to myself, Haitian, Black. This is an Arsenal fan. Like, what are you doing? Like, you belong with us. I don't understand why you did what you did. Like, but it's fine. We'll work on it.
By the end of the pod, she'll be an Arsenal fan.
I highly doubt that. One of my closest friends is a Black guy who supports Bayern, but he also supports Arsenal. He's a way bigger Arsenal fan than he is. And I've known him for almost 10 years at this point. If he can't convince me, I don't know if you guys can.
I don't think he's been trying.
I've got methods, don't worry. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We got this. Don't worry about it. But let's, before we get into the game, one more question. Actually, I have a couple more questions. Who are your favorite Bayern players ever besides Bastian Schweinsteiger?
Oh, it's really tough. I want to say, if I had to pick, really, old timer legend, I'm going to go Franz Beckenbauer. He's just amazing on all fronts. Yeah. In terms of, championships, physicality, leadership, changing the game, sort of transitioning us into this modern era of soccer. He's a part of all of that. And, he's got a statue outside of Allianz Arena now. So very, very big deal. I would probably also say from the new era that I have been watching, Thomas Mueller is just the biggest. The man is not only physically talented, but he also just has this personality that it's not just about him being funny. It's about the fact that he could be friends with anybody and he can pick you up on your worst day. And whatever is going on in his personal life, he does not bring that into the stadium. Like, you'll never hear a bad story about him ever. So he's just the all around, just natural example of what it means to be a football role model. And I see that happening for him. Now he's at Vancouver with the Whitecaps and everybody loves him over there as well. And now he's in his bearded era, which is crazy.
It's weird seeing him.
I love the look, though. I'm not going to lie. I love the look. But yeah, he's just an all around role model. So I love him for that. And then I guess I can't forget Manuel Neuer as well. He's just, he's the GOAT when it comes to goalkeepers. I don't know. I apart from, our old timers, I think in this modern era, I don't think there's a goalkeeper that's better than Manuel Neuer in terms of being the GOAT. So much respect to him for sure.
That's fair.
I've had many a sleepless night after watching him versus Arsenal. That he's a really, really evil man. So I got him anymore.
Yeah, his nickname is the Wall, so it does feel like you're running into a wall all the time when you're
Was he born in Berlin by any chance? Or
I think I could be wrong. I always think that everybody's from the Stuttgart area, but I don't really know.
I'm reasonably certain
from Schalke. From Schalke. I remember when the transfer happened. It was
that's right. Yeah.
Him being the wall and shit,
Yeah, but okay. That's a lot of really nice things to say about Bayern people. I think we're going to stop. There are more questions, but let's talk about what we came to talk about today.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be Bayern 1, Augsburg 2. What went wrong, Barbara?
Well, first of all, we are really plagued with injuries right now. And I know that there might be some eye rolls there because, it seems to oversimplify it. But the matter of the fact is, Davies has just come back from injury. Musiala is sort of coming back from his as well. Kimmich just came back from some time off as well. We still have Leimer out. We still have Stanisic out. Um, so we have this like rotation of newer people who aren't as experienced, and it's not going to be consistent. We have 8 total games this month, only 6 of them we've played so far. That's a lot of playing, and you're not going to have the same lineup each and every time. So I think Vincent Company has to figure out what he's going to do with each match. And maybe we've been a little bit too comfortable because we've just been, it's been win after win after win for us, which is great. That's what we want. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily consider this loss to be such a bad thing, because eventually you're going to have to see the cracks in your strategy in order to know how to get a little bit better.
Right. It's nice to know that Augsburg is on the same level as Arsenal. I didn't expect that, but apparently that's who they
Did
are.
you see their tweet, actually? Their tweet, it's like a meme from The Office US.
Yeah. The Harry Kane
Yeah.
thing. It was like, "Are you still coming?" with the picture of Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And it was like, "What does that mean? I'm not showing up." Listen, first of all, calm down. They are like 13th or 14th on the table right now. You got one big win over us. You're literally 6 points away from being at the bottom of the table. Like, that was a little bit too much.
I'm hoping it stays that way, because there's one team that can't get above them this season. So we're praying for that. So
and that would be Mainz. But Coach, this Claude Maurice fella, he really took advantage of the fact that our boy Alonso Davies just came back from injury, didn't he?
He was. I'll be honest with you. Alphonso Davies is a great like fullback. There's no doubt about that. But even I want to say the second half was really strange to watch, because normally Bayern are quite good at suffocating teams and killing the outball. Like, they can the ball recycles over and over and over again, and they're able to essentially just stop any sort of transition. But he got the ball and just did whatever he wanted with it every time, and that's when I realized, Bayern are not fully there yet physically, because a lot of the time that doesn't happen just for the fact that Bayern get their distances correct, and now, like, instead of covering 20 yards, so instead of covering 10 yards, they're covering 20 yards instead. Nobody's fully like sort of recovered yet. And I think the biggest indicator of that was just how often, whenever the ball went to Michael Olise and they lost it, was one pass and Augsburg were in every single time. So yeah, the injury point that you made, Barbara, I don't think it's oversimplifying it. It's just what it is. Players are not fully back yet.
Yeah, and I really wish that people wouldn't rush it if it was necessary. And sometimes I think that that's kind of what they do, because maybe they're not physically 100% present, I would say. Sometimes you look at games like this. I mean, you see how far down Augsburg is on the table right now. You're probably going into that thinking, like, how much do I mentally and physically give to this, at the risk of injuring myself again? And I think sometimes that's something that the players have to weigh on their minds. Unfortunately, for a team like Bayern, I will say this is a critique I have always had for this team, no matter who's on the roster, who the manager is. I don't know why this is a trend for us, but I think that if Bayern is up or they're equalized in the first half, they tend to be a little bit more lazy in the second. But if we're losing in the first half, all of a sudden we come back second half. I don't know what's being said in that locker room. I always wish I knew. But they come back in the second half just, guns blazing. We're not going to end, And the first goal that was scored was like, minute 60, 61? So at that point, they really were taking it easy and not going full-fledged. And I think that's a lot of potential for people to catch you off guard. And when they catch you off guard, now the question is, what do you do to bounce back? So if you are young and you've never had that experience before, like if you're looking at maybe like a Leonard Carl or something, or if you, maybe even Olise as well, because he's been a part of our squad, in our sort of winning era, so we haven't had a lot of these experiences where late in the second half, we're trying to figure out how to bounce back and looking at your teammates. What do we do? There's been a lot of roster changes. So the chemistry itself for the team, it took a while for us to build that up. But again, we built that at a time when we were winning and not when we were down. So when you look to the people to your left and your right, can you count on those people alongside you? And then put in the factor of not everybody's at the same health level. So I can see how that can get a little bit frustrating. I definitely saw that from Jonathan Tah. He was just, running from end to end and seemingly frustrated at the end with the result, because you can see that he was giving it his all, but it didn't seem like the rest of the team was able to do that alongside him.
Well said, Barbara. This was your first loss of the season in the league.
And probably the last.
Probably the last. That's not arrogant to say, given the league you play in.
Mhm.
But I guess I'm not really plugged into Bayern fan groups. I imagine you are. What
Mhm.
was the mood surrounding the whole invincibility thing? Like, was that a thing you guys were sort of aiming for? Like, let's do it this year. Or was it just sort of a by and you don't really care that you've lost the opportunity?
Personally, I think that's more media talk than fan talk. Obviously, we would always love to do well and win every single game possible, but it's not like we were, as fans, like aiming for a perfect season of any kind. I think that the, what was it, 2023-24 season really humbled us when Leverkusen won the title, and we lost it for the first time in 12 years. And so last year we were just hoping to win, and it really came down to like one of those last games there. Um, and this season it was also Vincent Company's first season with us.
Yeah.
So this season we didn't really know what to expect. I think we just were hoping to keep that momentum and not rock the boat too much. I think we also were very silent at the beginning of the season because we didn't want to jinx anything because it was going so well. But I don't think that fans would be so arrogant to say like, "Oh yeah, we're invincible and this is gonna be easy." Like, I don't think anybody truly thought that, at least on our end. I haven't heard that from anyone.
I'll keep it a buck with you, Barbara. If I was a Bayern fan, I'd feel that way every year. Every year, like every year we go into invincible. If not, fire the coach.
I mean, that's a good point, but I think that we are always being made fun of by other leagues for winning Bundesliga all the time and being made to feel that Bundesliga isn't worth very much because of that fact. And so now I think that we feel like we have something to prove on the international club stage. So when it comes to, Champions
Champions
League
League.
or a Club World Cup, something like that, those are the moments where we really are in that competitive mode and we feel like we have something to prove. So again, we aren't so arrogant to think we're going to win things all the time, but maybe that's because our focus is, elsewhere.
Do you know
Fair
what? Though?
enough.
I do want to. I do want to say, Bayern in my lifetime have never, despite the strength of the Bundesliga being strong or weak, who really cares? In the Champions League, Bayern are arguably, after Real Madrid, the most consistent side in my entire lifetime. Every single time, going as far back as, I don't know, the 01-02 season, or no, 2000-2001 season. Like, anytime I've seen Bayern in the Champions League, they've just been fantastic. Semi-finals almost at a minimum. I think between like 2009 to like 2014 or 15, Bayern was in a semi-final every single year. Like,
I mean, it's been a long time since we probably haven't made like a quarterfinal of
yeah,
Champions.
like it's always so the strength for the Bundesliga like
I
doesn't
mean,
really
I
doesn't
mean,
doesn't
clock
yeah,
it,
it
clock it.
doesn't really matter because Bayern always have a really, really, really good coach and some of the best players in the world. It's just how it goes. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that always kills me is like as much as people want to talk crap about Bayern and Bundesliga all the time,
Mm.
your favorite team, and I'm not, signaling you guys, but like to everyone out there, your favorite team can't even make Champions League. So what are we talking about? Like that.
United.
She makes a strong point. And
Yeah.
as a wise man once said about the Bundesliga, we are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. On
No,
that note, let's move on to Leverkusen 1, Werder Bremen 0. Coach, you saw this.
yeah, to be honest, it was from what I saw of it, Leverkusen are in a weird stage where they needed this win purely for the fact the last two games obviously have been disastrous, but they created a shit ton of chances, but they were still outshot. And I don't know, it was like Werder Bremen didn't probably believe they were ever going to win, and Vasquez settled it very, very, like, I think just before half time, and that was it. Like all of the chances that that Werder Bremen created didn't really trouble them too much. But Leverkusen probably could have scored about 3 or 4 yesterday, no problem. So yeah.
Well, good for them and Casper the Ghost winning. Union Berlin 0, Dortmund 3. Coach, did you watch this? Barbara, who watched this? Who watched this one?
I did catch a bit of it. I think that it's. I did catch a bit of it. I think that Dortmund is very interesting because right now their superstar on the team is Schlotterbeck, and I've heard some talks about him coming to Bayern as well. We're gonna ignore that for
Sorry,
now.
can I just jump in there quickly? Sorry,
Yeah,
let me just be clear on this. If Bayern want anybody in Germany, they have first refusal. That's the rule that I've learned. So Schlotterbeck being linked basically means if Bayern want him, they'll have him. If not, somebody else can have him. As that's the rule that I've understood.
I mean,
I mean that is kind of like what it sounds like. I think that maybe that applies to Bundesliga. I wouldn't say for other leagues
No,
because if you look,
literally just
say like
Bundesliga, just
yeah,
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. Yeah, because I mean, where else would people want to go? I don't really know where else people want to go. I think maybe if it was, a couple of years ago,
Mm,
Leverkusen probably would have had their name in the hat,
mm,
or thrown it in the ring. But right now they're just slipping. So even
mm,
going back to the Leverkusen Werder Bremen thing, I think that for one, Bundesliga is very competitive outside of the top three teams, I would
mm,
say, like competitive amongst each other. So the scoreline doesn't really bother me. But I will say I'm very surprised by Leverkusen this season because um, they were just really good for like 2-3 seasons straight, and ever since Xabi Alonso left, they've just been slipping down. Now they're like sixth on the table, so it's really disappointing to see. But like you were saying, Coach, like they were creating chances, but it didn't seem like it was bothering them, and I
mm,
think that that's a terrible mentality to have when you're trying to root back for
mm,
Europa League or Champions League spot.
mm.
So there's that. But yeah, going back to the Dortmund thing, yeah, if you want to leave Dortmund, I guess Bayern is the place to go. I personally disagree with that. I've said this in public and I've said this in private. I don't like people who flip flop between the two,
Mm.
just because I take the rivalry very seriously. So personally, do I want Schlotterbeck? No,
Bayern
I do.
though.
No, I do not. Where is he even going to go in our lineup? I don't know, but I'd prefer not to have him. But yeah, them beating Union Berlin is not a surprise. Although Union Berlin can surprise people because they have beaten Bayern quite a couple of times. Even the first season that they were in Bundesliga, they beat Bayern,
Mm,
which was a complete shock. But I respected them a lot for that. But it is really tough to see because also Schlotterbeck used to play for Union Berlin, so I'm sure
yes.
it was tough for
did.
him
He did.
to gain that win over his former team. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Goals from Emre Can, Schlotterbeck, as we've mentioned, and Maximilian Bayer.
Yeah.
The final fixture from Germany this lovely afternoon would be Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, Stuttgart 3. Coach, you say this one was complete one-way traffic.
It was just belt to us from minute one, man. It was there's nothing to see here. Stuttgart were going crazy. Do you know when a player scores their own goal and you just feel sorry for them? Like they physically couldn't do anything more. That's how essentially the second goal went in. Like it was just this relentless pressure. I think between the 58th minute to like the 67th minute, I think Stuttgart might have had about 7 shots, all within their box. Like it wasn't like pop shots. It was like they were getting through at will, and then they just succumbed. They just succumbed to it. Yeah, and then Dennis Undav, my favorite op, obviously had to score. So
That's what he does. That's what he does. And our sympathies to Joe Scally because he's a Yank and he scored the own goal. And coach was going to be nice and not mention him, but I love snitching. I love it. Barbara, anything else on the Bundesliga?
I will say that the BMG and Stuttgart matches is also a surprise as well because
Mm,
Mönchengladbach is a side that when they play against Bayern, they really give it their all. And I would say that they're probably one of our toughest competitors in the entire league. You never know what result you're going to end up with. So seeing them down 3 to Stuttgart is quite surprising. But I actually did go to a Stuttgart match at
mm,
their stadium a couple of months ago, and
Mm.
their fan energy is crazy. Obviously, Bayern won the game, but their fan energy is crazy. So I can only imagine what that experience would have been like.
Yeah, fans in Germany are nuts in general. Like from
Oh, for
my
sure.
experience, yeah, like they're. I think part of it as well is the safe standing that they have. Like that really helps with the atmosphere. Like Emirates is getting it next season, which I think is going to really help. But seriously, it's something I would always go if someone offered me a ticket to go to watch any Bundesliga game. I'd just go purely for the hospitality. Like you're not gonna
Actually,
like this, but the Dortmund stadium, they're so lovely. Honestly, there they treat you so well there. But then the game
Yeah,
starts and then
yeah.
they turn into absolute demons.
You met,
I've heard good things. I've heard good
Yeah.
things.
I mean, I think it's better than Bayern's to be honest. No, I'm joking.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I've heard that from a lot of people. The yellow wall, I've heard it's very impressive, and I'm gonna continue saying I've heard for the rest of my
Mm.
life because I will never step foot in that stadium. But I've heard that it's quite amazing. But yeah, they have standing room for 25,000 people.
Yeah,
And
but they take it away for Champions League, which I think is kind
Mhm.
of stupid, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
But if I'm
but
comparing, genuinely, like Allianz Arena is definitely like light years ahead in terms of the actual sort of technology and whatever else. It's a younger stadium and stuff. Um, but yeah, in terms of atmosphere, I can't really split it. Like both Bayern and Dortmund fans go absolutely crazy. Like in my experience, at least.
yeah,
yeah,
right before the holidays, I actually went to watch the final Bayern home match,
Mm,
and the Sud Curve, which is like our
yeah.
ultras, it was so crazy that they were all, jumping up and down in unison. But when I looked closely into my camera,
Mm,
there was a man who was crowd surfing
yeah.
upwards in the stadium. And I was just like, how is this possible? I don't understand. But yeah, they go nuts over there too.
man. Coach, hit us with those Bundesliga standings, please.
So we already know who's in first place. Obviously Bayern Munich, 50 points. Second place Dortmund, 42 points. Hoffenheim in third on 36 points. They're also tied with Stuttgart in fourth after their win on 36 points. Leipzig on 35 and Leverkusen on 32 to round out the top six.
Thank you, Coach. We move over to the land of paella and all sorts of culinary porkness, La Liga. Barbara, please hit us with them headlines.
Yes. So for La Liga this week, we have Mbappe might be real life Homelander after dedicating his Panenka to Diaz. Then Lamine Yamal with the goal of the weekend, and Atleti climb back to third place.
Thank you very much. We start in Seville, though, where the hosts defeated Athletic Bilbao 2-1. Coach, take it away.
Um, Look, Seville they're a weird side. I think we spoke about it like earlier in this season that they might be like fighting relegation. But since I've now learned that Akko Adams plays for them and he plays really well, I am rooting against that completely. But yeah, they were the better side today, I think, for sure. Obviously Navarro opened the scoring for Bilbao, and then after that Sevilla took over. Fernandez scored pretty much almost straight away. Really good finish, but I think the defending could have been better on that. The ball seemed to creep through at least three Bilbao players. Akko Adams, what can I say? He really want to take that penalty after what I believe to be the most obvious handball of all time. Those are the handballs that if they don't give it, I totally support fans writing. It was just so obvious. Like he didn't even Berisha didn't even appeal it. It was so obvious, and it was a good penalty from Michael Adams to finish it.
Well said, young man. We move over to Villarreal, who hosted Real Madrid and lost by 2-0. Brahim Diaz had the luxury of getting to watch his Senegalese conqueror. Which gay is this? There's hella gays in Senegal. Which one? What's his name? What's his first
It's
name?
just I refer to him as the Villarreal one because that's
Okay.
how I'm introduced to him. Like
All right, I'm gonna call him Yellow Gay, because I don't know if that's offends somebody. Like, send the hate mail to Coach. I'm not
I
reading
think
that
his first name is Pape, but I don't know if I'm.
Pape, yes, it's
yes.
Pape
Yeah.
Gay. Thank you, Barbara. But Mbappe scored his first with a real Porto's effort. Villarreal had a couple chances to equalize. They obviously didn't do that. And enter Homeland Mbappe, chipping a Panenka and dedicating it to Diaz. Barbara, how unhinged is that behavior? Would you
That's
be,
so
if you were
true.
Diaz, would you be would you be heartened by the fact that your teammate cares so much about you that he did what you failed at a week ago in the eyes of the world? Or would you think this guy's an asshole and he's reminding people of some shit that I was trying to forget?
No, I think it's very sweet. I'm sure that his morale is down. Like, listen, here's the thing. Diaz probably suffered, apart from this happening in the World Cup, I think he suffered the most embarrassing moment of his career. And it's really unfortunate because obviously we all know that when that penalty came up at the AFCON final, that was not, or yeah, that was just not his intention. So it really is unfortunate. I can only imagine what his mental state is right now, coming back from that and feeling like he let his country down, feeling like, he's obviously gonna face his AFCON opponent today. I couldn't even imagine what his mental is like. So I think it was a sweet gesture.
A sweet gesture? Well, I'm a hater, so I'm not buying any of that shit. I feel like Mbappe is fucking unhinged and he should mind his own black ass business. I feel like this may be the most embarrassing moment of Brahim Diaz's career so far, but I think there's more to come in his future. That's for fucking sure. Because
honestly, unless he makes it to the World Cup and repeats it, this definitely was the most embarrassing moment of his career.
Well,
so, yeah.
I have nothing against the man, but
Yeah.
I do have things for content, so I can't wait for him to fuck up again so we can laugh about it in the future.
Yeah. I feel bad though. I'm a little tone deaf, so I do feel like if I were Mbappe, I probably would have done the same thing with good intentions, good intention, but it's giving
a French thing.
support
It's a
for
French
sure.
thing. He's French, you're kind of French, like you guys both like pointy shoes, all that, all that premier gauche shit that y'all
Can we just be clear here?
What's that?
Can we just be clear here? Mbappe is a sicko and he was taking the piss. Like that's there's no doubt in my mind. After hearing all the stories of what this guy is capable of, the fact that he's the Grim Reaper when it comes to coaches and players, he got rid of Messi and Neymar. Like, guys, we know exactly what kind of man he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna call him tone deaf, to be honest. Like even Alonso's exit from Real Madrid, and he's like, these people don't respect me.
Mm.
And then Mbappe's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's
doing it on purpose.
Because he's Homelander. Yeah,
listen, I love him though. I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest Real Madrid person in the world. I will admit that. I've gained more respect for them ever since David Alaba joined, because he is one of my favorite players of all time. But Mbappe is, he's legendary. After that French World Cup, he's legendary. So I'm just going to be nice and say he's just really tone deaf, and he needs probably a PR person to help him out a little bit.
That was such a lovely way to describe Mbappe, but I can't wait till he goes to jail. Like, he's a sicko. He needs to be locked up. I'm tired of his shit. Let's go over to the other side of Madrid. Well, Madrid proper, because Madrid were in Villarreal. But anyway, as Letzi beat Mallorca 3-0, coach.
Yeah, Sorloth. I think there's a universe where Sorloth probably has a Lewandowski arc where he just goes nuts, but he's just not good enough technically, basically. But he finds himself in positions in the right striker positions. Like, he does it all. Like, he's double movements, kind of thing. He's always in the right place, right time. And the Llorente volley fell in the area that Sorloth found himself to be in, as usual. Like, so yeah, they go 1-0 up. Second half, they get an own goal. What is it with own goal this weekend? Like, maybe Arsenal.
I was just about to say that.
Like, seriously. And then Armada scores an absolute thunder bastard, but they could have tackled him about 5 minutes before he actually shot. Like, he was just dancing around. I don't understand what the hell that was, what sort of defending that was, but they gave him a chance and he's put it right in the roof of the net in the top corner. And it's what they deserve, to be honest, for not tackling him like 5 minutes before he shot. So,
like, listen, bro, like, when people see that MLS experience, when they see a player that's been in MLS and dominated and he shows up in their European leagues and shit, they fall the fuck back, they fall back. Respect MLS, okay? Let's move on from that game because I didn't watch it and I don't care. But Barcelona beat Real Oviedo 3-0 at a leaking, what's that stadium called again? Camp Nou.
The Spotify recap.
Yeah, the new camp. Apparently, the repairs have gone so well that a bunch of journalists lost their laptops and shit because it just started raining on their shit directly on their computers. But Barcelona won, so who cares, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, by the end of the game, yeah, I could see the torrential rain. It was like raindrops the size of my fist. It was ridiculous. Look, Barcelona are going to win a lot of games playing this way. But we've seen in the Champions League how they can be hurt, But when it works ridiculously well. Olmo's finish was almost pop is arguably. I don't know who's. You tell me if anybody knows that. Who is actually a better finisher between him and Fermin? I think Fermin for me might edge it because I don't know what foot he is basically. But Olmo,
I think Fermin is just more efficient.
they both hit corners. Whenever they score, they're hitting it's never anything like the keeper had a chance. They're putting it as far away from the keeper each time. But his finish was really, really good. And
Also,
then
Olmo looks a bit like a vampire, so I don't like him.
True.
So Fermin for me. Yeah. Karen, you were saying something? You were podcasting or something? Go ahead.
Rafinha raced through on goal after another, they won the ball high as well, and he just chips the goalkeeper, no problem. And then Yamal does something that I think between Rivaldo and Ronaldinho, they've done this shit probably 3 or 4 times each for Barcelona, but this shit was impressive, like, as hell. The ball from Olmo was ridiculous, and then he's just go watch it, basically, is what I'm saying. Ridiculous.
Barbara, did you see this goal? Is he hyping it too much?
I did. I saw all of them. I honestly, I thought Yamal's goal was incredible, and I don't even watch Barcelona like that. But the last couple of weeks, I've been tapped into them. I was equally impressed with the Olmo goal. I think that because Lamine Yamal is just such a superstar right now, that's all people are talking about. But Olmo's goal was so impressive to me. I mean, yeah, what you were saying about the finishing, that's absolutely amazing. But the way he was able to get through all those people with a clean line, like I just felt like there were 10 people in front of him and no one was touching that. So that was more impressive to me. But I think the style of the finish for Lamine Yamal was extremely impressive because that not everybody can do that every single day. Right. And also it was so quick. I would say like the pass from Olmo, like it was just so quick the way that happened. Yeah. And I think there are people like him and like Michael Elise, these young talents where you feel like they can almost see the future because the way they're able to read the space so well, I don't think anybody else on that field would have been able to do that. But they're so like tapped in, they're clocking everything that's going on around them that he just made it look so easy.
Vampires, girl. I'm telling you, vampires. They're every fucking That's who we need ICE to be deporting, the vampires. Okay, like leave the rest of us alone. Deport the vampires. Coach, hit us with those standings, please.
Yeah. So Barcelona are top 52 points, 1 point ahead of Real Madrid in second on 51. Now Atleti may or may not have reclaimed their spot as the third best team in Spain. More to be seen because Villarreal, to me, have still really impressed me. They're in fourth, but they've had a shocking time. They've lost their last 2. In fact, they've lost 2 of their last 3, in fact. And they're on 41 points. There was a comment, Dean, that their coach made before we get out of Spain. And it just made me laugh. Yeah, it just really made me laugh because they were okay with Barcelona and Real Madrid stealing all the money for like 10 years. And now you're hating on, my beloved Crystal Palace for being able to take your players because you guys didn't tell like, I don't know, Tebas and whoever else that, look, Real Madrid and Barca stealing all the money. Like, can we get some ourselves? It's not my fault that, Jeremy Pinner wants to, run around Croydon, Southeast London. That's not my problem, bro.
You heard about the Nandos. He was like, I gotta go. Oh man, let's go over to Barbara's people in France, Ligue 1. Can you hit us with the headlines, please? You fake German lady.
This week in the French league, we have the streak is over for Lens. After 8 wins in a row, they fell to a 3-1 defeat at the Stade de Vélodrome. And PSG regained top spot, no thanks to Barcola's finishing.
We're going to get to PSG, but I just find it ironic that Barcola does like a gun celebration, but he rarely ever hits the target, bro. Like, what's going on there?
He can't be happy for himself.
if you're going to do a gun celebration, you kind of need to be a little more accurate with the shooting, But that's okay if it doesn't work out for him in the football thing. He can always get a job as a cop or some shit. In any event, Ozera hosted PSG, and PSG really should have made this one safe in the first half. But as coach hinted at, Bradley Barcola didn't have his finishing boots on today. Lassine Sinayoko, another AFCON veteran, had Ozera's best moment, but it didn't result in a goal. And weirdly enough, since we spent the whole of this Ligue 1 section shitting on him, Bradley Barcola got the winner in the most Barcola fashion, coach.
Yeah, look. Dembele came on. He essentially changed the game for them. They had a lot more sort of they played a lot faster, I want to say. There was a lot more directness. He put him through on goal. I don't even know. Honestly, it was such a bad goal to concede from Ozera's point of view. But the finish was just weird. He just poked it at the keeper and it's just cannoned off the keeper's shin or ankle, and it's just looped and bounced into the net in the most unconvincing fashion. I was just like, of course Barcola would score that after missing quite literally, I want to say, 4 big chances. Ridiculous.
Barbara, I know you don't get to watch PSG every week, but I'm sure you've seen them at points this season, especially. I think you guys played each other, being Bayern and PSG. They're the defending champions in the continent. Where do you rate them in comparison to Bayern at the moment?
Well, I was listening to the first half of the question where you said, where do you rate them? And compared to Bayern, those are two separate questions for me. So where do I rate them? Ironically, I know people are going to say that's rich coming from you, but ironically, they are a side that has been bought to greatness, So do I rate them very much? Probably not.
That's the right attitude, by the way. I hope you feel the same way about City and Chelsea.
I do feel the same way about City to an extent, but I am like Pep Guardiola's number one fan. So there will be no slander here for me. I'm so sorry. Listen, when he was a part of Bayern, he did great things. He was a really big part of why we had those golden years for as long as they did. I still wish that he would come back in the future. So I won't hate. It's not his fault that somebody wanted to give him $1 billion. That's all I'm saying. If somebody came up to me and they were like, "What is your wildest dream? I will give you $1 billion and make it happen." What am I going to do? Say no?
Barbara,
we can't blame him. I digress.
We can't have you on the show coming on here acting like you're one of those Instagram models that wants to go to Dubai. No, we cannot have that. No. All this $1 billion talk is scaring me, my friend. I don't want this.
I'm just saying, if somebody gave me the money, do you blame me for spending the money, or do you blame the person for giving it?
If I'd only blame you if you've gotten caught for using steroids as a player twice in your career, and I question your integrity as a man to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later.
Next topic. No, PSG, I think, there's no surprise at how well they're doing, was my point to begin with. But compared to Bayern, I don't really think that there's much of a comparison this year. Just because, although, the two of us and Arsenal are very strong in our leagues, we've got Bayern and Arsenal at the top of the Champions League as well. And, Arsenal is a couple points ahead of us right now. But that can also change within, one match day. So I think I'm keeping the comparisons over there, and I'm not really focused on anybody else right now.
Fair enough. And I think you guys beat them in the game you played against them.
You did. That's the game that Hakimi got injured by Luis Diaz trying to kill him. So
yeah, and you thought that was fine. Apparently, you've changed your mind since then, I think.
Sorry, what? PSG?
He thought that Luis Diaz trying to murder Hakimi was okay on the day.
Do you know what? Yeah, I felt as if it was mistimed. But now I can see the light and see it was a red card, basically. But I don't feel like the intention was there to actually hurt him. Do you know what I mean?
I don't advocate for violence, but it was karma for what happened in Club World Cup when Donnarumma broke Jamal Musiala's fucking leg. Can we just?
The lady speaks a bar. That is a bar.
That's a compelling point. I can't even lie.
Crazy thing is,
one ankle for another.
I was at that match, sitting front row, and saw that happened, and it was so terrifying. It was so terrifying, and we get like a little apology from Donnarumma, and then that's it. And the unfortunate thing about what happened with Luis Diaz is that this was during like a regular game. If the Club World Cup situation happened during Champions League, Donnarumma's punishment would have been way worse. But because this is a tournament that just doesn't really have the same, it just doesn't have the same like governmental rules around it. There was nothing to be done. So it is what it is. Anyway.
Well, we have Jamal Musiala back and we have Hakimi back, so I suppose we're thankful for both of them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy that everybody's happy and healthy. That's what matters.
Oh yeah, you and Mbappe. Let's move over to Marseille 3, Lens 1 at the Velodrome. Amin Gouiri opened the scoring with a very early first goal. Some good dribbling. The ball ricocheted a bit, but he got lucky. Nice finish. And the only reason why we're talking about this game is the fact that for the second goal, Ethan Nwaneri, on loan from Arsenal to Marseille, scored what has been for a while, his trademark goal. Ran for 50 yards straight. Apparently in France, they don't mark. I'm sure he was running thinking to himself, like, when is someone going to murder me? But no one murdered him. So he murdered the net. Solid debut for him playing as one of De Zerbi's 10s in that 3-4-3. Gouiri ended the game essentially in the second half, and Ryan Fofana got a consolation for the home team. Lens' streak is over, coach, but pretty decent ride for them.
Winning 8 games in a row is flipping impressive, whatever the league you're in. Especially, you got like Thomason and Tolvin like running the league on. Like these guys, I'm not saying these guys are scrubs, but they're very much in the twilights of their career and they're going crazy. You know what I mean? They won 8 games in a row. They beat some good teams along the way as well. But it just shows me just how good PSG have been, because all it took was for them to lose one game and they've lost their top spot despite them winning 8 games in a row. It's
that's rough.
France is a funny league, man. But the game itself, I just want to be clear and say this: that number, that right 10 spot is Ethan's if he really wants it. Like the other fella, I don't know who he is. The other,
yeah. So we don't want to talk about him because with Marseille, you fuck around and say 2 sentences about them, and you're talking about a fucking criminal all of a sudden.
That is true.
But true. Do you think De Zerbi actually? Because to my mind, the player he replaced in the lineup, who came on for him probably after about an hour, is probably Marseille's best player, I would say. So how do we envision the minutes allocation between that player and Ethan?
I mean, there's a good argument, because let me be clear, Gouiri is very, very annoying. There's a good argument that the other player goes up front full time, basically, because you have to manage Aubameyang's minutes. And I just think Ethan's just better than him anyway. I think Ethan's the best player in the world, but that's just
pretty much. If he was playing for Arsenal today, maybe I'd be less sad, but that's neither here nor there. Shout out Lens despite their loss. Barbara?
Yeah, you also just have to look at people's temperaments and what side you're playing against in the next one.
That is true.
Because, everything goes back to Bayern, but I'm thinking about Musiala right now. Like, he's about to come back and we need him, having more minutes.
You play Musiala against everybody. You play him against, Musiala has to play against.
Well, not since he's been back from injury, right? So when he got injured, the superstar that emerged from all of that was Leonard Carl.
Yeah.
And so with Musiala coming back, the question is, like, how do we manage those minutes between the two, or move things around so that everybody feels comfortable?
I have the answer. I know the answer to this, Barbara. I can figure it out for company. Here is my policy. Musiala is black. Give him all the minutes. Fuck that little 17-year-old motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. Showed up to the Emirates, was stunting and shit. Put the goal picture on his phone as the background and all that. Man, fuck that little nigga, man. Send him to Roma. He wants to go anyway. Let him go. Put the minutes come off. Obviously. Come on, Barbara. Thanks for agreeing with me. I appreciate you. Let's go over to Lille 0, Strasbourg 3. Gary O'Neill is figuring out this Ligue 1 thing, huh, Coach?
Yeah, look, Gary O'Neill we've been loving Gary O'Neill. I just think even like from the playing,
I could never love a white man. Stop that.
Okay, so you don't love Arsene Wenger? Is that what you're telling me?
That's not a white man. That's Arsene Wenger. Different story. Come on, let's be serious.
But Gary Neville's just been. It feels like he's just been a fixture of my footballing life forever, from Portsmouth days. Like, and then watching him transition into a coach, he was hard done by at Bournemouth, done really well at Wolves, kind of thing as well. And now he's in France. He's going to end up back in England, probably managing Nottingham Forest next season. I don't know, but the point is that he's an in-demand coach because his ideas are good. He's generally one of those coaches to me that I could see him getting a relatively big job. Like, he could easily take over Newcastle, as far as I'm concerned. He's that good.
I think he's going to end up back at Bournemouth.
Yeah, actually, that's actually not a bad shout. No, I wouldn't go back.
Goes to a different team.
I wouldn't go back. The way they done him so dirty, I would not go back.
No, that's a joke. I would never go back. Fuck that.
I wouldn't go back.
I mean, I would, but I'd just pull like a, Mean Girls, Regina George type situation.
Who was it that who okay, it was Ryan Fraser.
The players like fattening bars.
Yeah.
Do you remember Eddie Howe obviously had Ryan Fraser at Bournemouth? Then he went to Newcastle. He brought him to Newcastle. You know what he did? He sent him to the reserves to play the under 21s. That's the kind of shit I would do if I was Gary O'Neill.
The latest version of that was what's his face? Nuno, West Ham's coach.
Yeah.
Taking over at Nottingham Forest and sending James Ward-Prowse to the bomb squad. Like, you can't play for me.
Oh,
and James Ward-Prowse moves to West Ham. Nuno goes to West Ham. He does it again. Like, fuck you. I came here just to fuck you, nigga. Bitch. Love that kind of shit. Love it, especially when it's not my career. But Strasbourg took control of this one in the 25th and 26th minutes through goals from Joaquin Panicelli. Really good player. I can't wait for him to go to a bigger league. And Julio Enciso, who we already know is pretty good. Don't know how he ended up at Strasbourg, but Blue coat, Chelsea, whatever they be doing, whatever.
Well, Chelsea bought him, and it's like Chelsea is a money laundering scheme, guys.
Let's just put it what it is. We can't do a fucking Chelsea rant on every fucking episode we do.
No, we have to still.
No, we don't. Let's move on this time. Metz 2, Lyon 5. Endrick on loan from Real Madrid with a hat trick. Barbara, are you shocked that this is going so well so quickly for this young Brazilian dynamo?
I'm not shocked. I think Lyon historically has just been pretty great, so I'm not shocked by that. And also, like, when you throw a Brazilian in the mix, you're hoping for like something exciting to happen. So scoring not one but two, keeping up that momentum and getting a hat trick, that's to be expected for sure.
Yeah, I think he's very much going down the same path as anyone that suppose, I wouldn't say call it a step down, but when you send players on loan, especially from big clubs to France kind of thing, it's with the expectation that they're gonna actually build their own confidence, especially attacking players. Like, that's the pattern. Endrick won't finish up at Real Madrid. I reckon they sell him, to be honest, because they're just gonna buy the next big thing, I think. Go on.
I'll have one of those, please. Bring him.
Yeah, but he won't do Real Madrid any harm for him doing well at Lyon. They'll get a nice fee for him eventually, I think. But he hits the ball incredibly hard. It's really unsettling.
And you know what? Whoever decides to get him from Real Madrid when they eventually do needs to make sure that they get Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well, because if you watch the highlights of Endrick so far at Lyon, Ainsley is near him all the time. They have turned into basically the Ben White, Bukayo Saka of France. It's crazy. Like, they have such great chemistry, like, right away. And it's fun to watch him just rampaging through the French league. Coach, hit us with them standings, please.
Indeed. So PSG have obviously reclaimed top spot now from Lens. So, but you know what? Can I just say something quickly? I don't think it's particularly over. I reckon PSG's Champions League run will probably having them have to rotate a bit more, and that might open the door back up for Lens again. Lens don't have to worry about that this season, but yeah, they're 2 points ahead of them on 45 points. Lens on 43 points. Marseille on 38 points. So they've closed the gap down to 5 points in third. Lyon on 36 points. Lille on 32 points, and Rennes on 31 points to round up the top six.
Thank you very much, good sir. Let's go over to Coca da Pasta in the Serie A. Could you please hit us with the headlines, ma'am? Thank you.
Yes, this week in Serie A, Inter bounced back from Champions League woes with emphatic win, and Como hit 6.
Yeah. Lots of sixes in Serie A this weekend, and we start with Inter at the San Siro in their new, simultaneously ugly and beautiful ACG Nike kits. Still don't know what I think about them. Nice to see them. They could only be Inter. But Inter went down 2-0 in this game at home. And you were in the group chat like, ooh, Arsenal broke them. Then Marco came on and shit got real.
Yeah. Do you know what made me laugh about that game? I just had a feeling that they weren't going to lose that. But seeing them squirm the way they did, and the stadium was pretty much half empty. Like, these guys just couldn't. The fans were just like, yeah, I'm not doing 2 games in a week. Like, and the commentator alluded to the fact that watching football now is really expensive. But that is crazy to me because I know after watching quite a few games in Italy that the tickets aren't expensive. To my mind, at least. Like, I could watch 4 Serie A games for the price of watching 1 Arsenal Man United game. I'm not even joking. Like, it is. You know, maybe economically in Italy, like, things are really, really bad. But I think that they're very well priced in Europe. In England, it's a mess. But everywhere else in Europe is fine.
Brother, like when they drop that newspaper at your house tomorrow and you put it up, right? Like, don't just. I know you always start from the back, the sports page. But start from the front sometimes, and maybe you will learn something about fucking geopolitics and realize that your equivalence in Italy is broke as fuck. Okay, stop making fun of the Italians.
I'm not making fun of them. But it just hit me. I was like, hang on a second, like,
you just called the whole country broke. You were like, these broke ass niggas can't even afford to go to their own games and shit. That's crazy. I could go to 4 Serie A games, man. These niggas ain't got no money. I mean, is that not what you were saying?
No.
That's what I heard.
Barbara, did you watch any of this by any chance?
No, I haven't seen much of Serie A lately.
Okay. No, that's fine. Moreira's goal was nuts, by the way. I don't know who to blame it. Is it actually what's his name? Number 7. Him or Summers' fault? What's his name? You know, the one they bought from Lazio.
Zielinski.
Is it Zielinski or Summers' fault? I still don't know.
I'll blame Sommer because he's a goalkeeper and he's only 6 foot tall. So
yeah, but ridiculous goal. And then Kivu does a Jose Mourinho and makes a first half sub. And it turns out that when you pair DeMarco with Bastoni, you get the most creative left side in the entire world, basically.
Unless they're facing Arsenal.
Basically, I was going to say, I didn't see any of this on Tuesday, but it is what it is. But they just pummeled them after that. It was just bombs after bombs into the box. And I want to say, I think the penalty was harsh. There's been a lot of harsh penalties, I think, this weekend, but I think the penalty was harsh. What wasn't harsh, though, was the cross from DeMarco for the equaliser. That was a peach for Lautaro. And then they wrapped it up pretty much by half-time with, I think, is that Esposito's first goal, I want to say?
No, well, wasn't his
first Serie A goal?
One, but Bastoni crossed for Esposito to head in.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much over at half. I think it was 3-2 by then.
It was 3-2. And then
Inter just added some gloss on top, but it was pretty much over in the first half, I thought.
But I don't know what was better out of the Bonney goal or the DeMarco goal, because the Bonney goal was straight George Weah R9 shit. And then the DeMarco goal was Ozil versus Chelsea. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, the answer is Esposito. I think that was the best goal of them all.
You think so?
Yeah, it's a proper man's header, I feel like. All this tippy-tappy shit you're talking about.
Please, man.
Let's go over to our coach's favorite coach in Serie A, Cesc Fabregas. His Como side beat Torino 6-0. 6! Yeah. Count them things, coach. Another early goal for them. What's that?
I can't count that high.
You fucking monkey. Good Lord. Martin Baturina, Croatian upcoming star, was actually more of this, because usually when we talk about Como games, we always talk Nico Paz. But Baturina was the star in this one. I've heard about him.
He's been shining the last couple of games for them.
Right. He's been good. Yeah. But yeah, this was, 6-0. What can you say about a 6-0 game? Maxence Cacré scored a long distance goal to wrap it up. And Cesc, this is one of those weeks when I'm going to be hearing shit like, you know who should replace Mikel Arteta if he doesn't win anything this year? Cesc Fabregas. That shit. We're going to hear a lot of that this week. We'll talk about the reasons why later. Atalanta hosted Parma and won 4-0. But coach, something else fascinated you before this game started.
Did anybody else see this, Bob? I don't know if you saw it as well, but basically an English fella, not me, he basically entered their stadium out of hours. I think it was yesterday. And they have like a security panel with like where you can put in a code. And all he did was type in the year that they were established, because it's on their badge, which is 1907. And he got into the stadium. I'm talking literally pitch side. And I just couldn't believe my eyes. Like, you cannot be, did Peter Griffin or Homer Simpson like install your security? Like, what the hell was that?
Has it occurred to you, Coach, that that video you saw might have been AI?
Bro. Do you know what? Do you know what? They're getting really good these days. They are. Apparently, Arsenal lost to United. I reckon that was AI. So
Crazy shit, man. Never heard of that. That's crazy. You see how I'm dressed? Like, why would an Arsenal fan be wearing this shit? Clearly, nothing happened. But the game itself, Atalanta scored 4 times, and Parma did not replicate the actions of that English fan because they got nothing from the Atalanta defense.
Yeah.
We move over to a big clash between Juventus and Napoli. Juventus 3, Napoli 0 here. I would say Kefren Thuram was the man of the match in this one. Barbara, Juventus' stadium is called the Allianz. Have you thought, you and the Bayern fans, have you decided to like pick up some pitchforks maybe, go burn their stadium down? You know, just some light arson. You know, we can't have 2 Allianzes. That ain't right.
No, you gotta respect the partners. I mean, actually, fun fact. So Stuttgart Stadium used to be the Mercedes-Benz, and the one in Atlanta is also Mercedes-Benz. So I think obviously you can't have more than one in the same country, but it feels like, what do they say? Like twin cities almost. You know?
Okay, that's a very classic way to look at it, but I just feel as if there's like hella lemon pepper wings within 10 miles of your stadium, then you get to keep the name. And if you don't got lemon pepper, you just Stuttgart. You know, that's how I feel about that. But you know, okay. Coach, your boy Jonathan David. It looks like he's finally awake. He's scoring goals in Italy. What the hell?
Yeah, I'll be real. I always knew he would. Like, physically, he should be dominating Italy. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. If he can do what
that sounds racist to me, but carry on.
If he can do what he does in League R, he can do it, and he can do like Gabby Jesus looked like R9 the other day, bro, and we know he's cooked physically. So I just felt it was always probably a wrong fit with the coach. Since Spalletti's been in charge of Juventus, bro, Juventus have been balling. I hate them, but they've been seriously balling. Like, they're joking it really, really nice. And I think with the sort of player sort of striker that he is, he likes obviously to play in between, you know, the sticks, right? He doesn't really do anything much out there. With the creative talent they have, McKinney running off him, Yildiz I'm hoping he becomes an Arsenal player. I have to give some props to Conceição, even though I hate him and his dad. I think
he's done nothing to anybody. He's done nothing, okay? His only sin is being short. Leave that boy alone. His dad is
him and his dad will see me one day. I'm telling you, bro. But
Arteta beat my mother up. What a loser.
So say Bob, that's a bit of an inside joke. But basically, his dad used to manage Porto. We beat Porto a couple of years ago. The guy came out afterwards and said Arteta insulted his mum for no reason. Like, it was just the weirdest shit. So since then, it's just been up since.
How weird was it? I just thought of it as the most Portuguese thing I've experienced in my life. That's what it was.
Why would you make up a lie and said that you cussed your mum, bro? You just lost the football match. That's all that happened.
Like, listen, man, I'd rather you curse my mom out than Arsenal lose a game. But that's just me, okay? Like, sorry, Mom. My mom doesn't listen to this, guys. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Let's just move on, Coach. Let's move on. Juventus won. That's sad for everybody. Everybody, everywhere on the planet, especially the gamblers. Roma won. Milan won. Mike Maignan was man of the match in this one. And Inter were the happiest for this result because their 2 closest challengers only got 1 point this weekend. Roma dominated, but they needed a Pellegrini penalty to equalize after Coni de Winter had scored from a corner. And again, 1-1. Shout out Mike Maignan. Coach, anything on this one?
I thought it would be a better game than what it was, but it was just, yeah. When 2 teams cancel each other out in Italy, it's probably the hardest watch in Europe, to be fair. Like, you're just oh gosh, end it, please.
Yeah, for an Englishman, absolutely, because there won't be as much wrestling as you're used to.
Oh, whatever.
Shit, fucking Prem games. Barbara, any thoughts on Serie A before we move on?
No, but I will say I am rooting for AS Roma for sure out of all the teams.
I don't know why you're doing that.
One more thing, actually. This is Roma's first draw of the season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In January?
Yeah, bro.
That's insane. But yeah, shout out. No, I'm not shouting out Gasperini. He's a twat. Standings, please, Coach.
Inter 5 points clear of Milan in second, so 52 points to 47 points. Roma on 43 points. Napoli also on 43 points, all the way down in fourth. Juventus on 42 points, yay, in fifth. And Como on 40 points in sixth place. Between sixth and second, the 7 points separating them. It's really tight in Italy. So.
Hey, man. Like, I understand all the factors contributing to it, but I'm so impressed by Como being sixth. Like, it's just, it's crazy what you can do when you add pasta to Wrexham. Like, great things can happen. Great things can happen. Over to the Super League, aka the non-Farmers League. Ma'am, please, with the headlines.
All right, over to the league that I couldn't care less about.
You're missing out, girl. I'm telling you, you're missing out.
All right, this week in Premier League, we have United stuns Arsenal, Harry Wilson for the Ballon d'Or, and Liverpool's unbeaten run ends in dramatic fashion at Bournemouth.
Thank you very much. But we start at the London Stadium where West Ham actually won another game. Coach, 3-1 over Sunderland. What the fuck?
Yeah, man, they beat the crap out of them. It kind of reminded me of when Bournemouth lost to Brentford a few weeks ago, and Brentford were just all over them. But yeah, Somerville, I think, scored like 3 and 3 now.
Like, the goal he scored in this game was embarrassing.
It was.
If I'm a Sunderland defender, I'm
Dan Ballard can't go back to Sunderland.
Like, how can a man that high, like, he's the same height as he's really little, people, is what I'm trying to say. And he scores a towering header. Yeah. Not just a towering header over a bunch of giants. It was incredible. I was so impressed by him.
Yeah. I think, do you know what, yeah? So we know West Ham won 3-1, but I think the funniest thing about this game, and Barbara, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go and find it if you can. Mavropanos and Alderete were scuffling in the box, right? That they're going head to head in open play. Like the ball's not dead. And then Fernandez, who had already scored like a long range belter in the game earlier, has another go, and it hits the bar while they're both fighting in the box. And when they see it hits the bar, that's when they wake up again. Like the red mist just clears. It is the most Barkley shit I've ever seen, honestly.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, they were showing the replay, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking to myself, like, oh, I want to see this really nice shot that hit the post.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for the ball to show up on the frame.
Yeah.
And you see these two big, manly, meaty men basically making out. Like, it was a lot. I was like, why are these men's faces so close? But they were trying to headbutt each other. It was so weird. But, when the ball hits the bar and they're like, oh, shit, we're playing football. Like, people, kids are watching this shit. It was great. Love it. But yeah, what was the thing with Xhaka and a fan in the stands? Why is Xhaka always arguing with people, man?
Xhaka called a white woman
a white bitch.
Again, I quote here. He called her a white bitch, and I was like, "But aren't you aren't you white as well?" He's always arguing with someone, and
I gotta stop asking you questions that you're going to give me the wrong answer to, because Granit Xhaka is black, like Arsene Wenger. He's also black. So let's just move on. Barbara, I feel like you have opinions about Granit Xhaka.
He could have went to Bayern, actually. I remember that.
I have to plead the fifth again, because I'm thinking about if somebody called me a black bitch, how I would feel about that. So being called a white bitch to me is equally as wild. But I also think just like the idea of players arguing with fans is just so ridiculous. Like, your head is not in the game. You're focused on the wrong thing. Like, let's just, I don't know. I think it's crazy.
In his defense, he was suspended. He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing at all. So
yeah, if it gets crazy and fans are saying like the most egregious things to you, like, you do have a right to defend yourself. But I don't know. I think I'm like the Olise type. I'm very nonchalant. Like, you can't say anything that's gonna get a rise out of me. Like, you're just a loser. That's it.
Well, that's a good way to put it. But you just got to meet the right troll. They will get you. They will get you. Let's move on to Burnley 2, Spurs 2. Okay, so this Mickey Van de Ven fella, I keep hearing that he's a good defender because he scores goals. But what about the defending part of it? Because if I'm not mistaken, I just said 2-2. So, Coach, what happened there? And keep talking, because I'm...
Yeah, look, let me be really clear here. Van de Ven is really, really fast. And that's the only thing I can say nice about him. He plays for Tottenham. I don't like Tottenham. But he scores goals. and everything else is left. I don't know what else he does that's good. But the game itself, you go away to Burnley. Burnley are definitely getting relegated. Tottenham are Champions League side, and they can't do like they're losing this game at one point. Twazanebi obviously scores from a really good walk across. Carl Walker used to play for Tottenham. I don't know if he went to say hello to anyone at the end, but it is what it is. But Lau Foster, fresh off his AFCON exploits, he sits down Van der Ven. Like, it is really bad. Like, he dummies him twice and then puts it, and then Jaden Anthony sits him down and Lau Foster scores, should I say, sorry. What did you make of South Africa actually in the AFCON? I don't know if you watch any of their games, but they were a bit of a disappointment to me actually.
I didn't see much in the beginning, but I've also just never really heard of South Africa being a strong suit as a nation in that sense. So I didn't really have high expectations for them on that
good.
side.
That's great.
But also going back to Van de Ven, like I feel like sometimes I like to look at things as like having a silver lining. I think that first of all, I'm happy if somebody shows range. Yes, it would be nice if you did a little bit more of the actual job that we hired you for instead of all the extra shenanigans. But, if I'm a good manager, I'm considering moving you around in other positions. Should a spot become open or somebody's injured or something like that, I can see that there's range in you and you are that more useful and valuable to me. So I'm not going to knock a defender who can also attack.
Yeah. But
I'm going to knock Van de Ven and I'm going to knock Romero because all they do is the shit they're not paid to do. Then I got to hear about them being better than Gabriel and Saliba and all this other shit. Like, man, Spurs fan, y'all need to pipe down and go fire your coach, aka the best Arsenal fan on the planet, our favorite eater, as a friend of ours once called Thomas Frank. You know who you are, friend of the pod. Fulham 2, Brighton 1. Yasin Ayari opened the scoring with a belter against the run of play. Samuel Chukwueze made it back from AFCON to score off a long pass from Joachim Anderson. It's nice to see Joachim Anderson pull out a long pass again because I feel like his passing back has kind of been, I don't know, it's been depressed since he left Palace for whatever reason. But
Marcus Silva is not going to let him do that at Fulham. He is too high risk. Like,
shame.
He's a Portuguese coach, so yeah.
Danny Welbeck had a goal ruled out for offsides before Harry Wilson did what he's been doing for week after week. He's been in my fantasy team for a couple weeks now, so I'm loving this shit. But I got to ask you, Barbara, between him and Michael Elise, who are you going for the Ballon d'Or?
What kind of question?
A serious question, Barbara. I'm serious. See my face? I'm serious.
The only person who could win the Ballon d'Or over Elise to me is Jesus Christ. What are we talking about?
Do you know what? Let's actually speculate. For this year, Michael Elise probably makes top 15, I think, for Ballon d'Or. Off the voting, I think he makes it.
Well, I didn't hear all of that, but I'm assuming you didn't say Florentino feels that Michael Elise should make this level of the Ballon d'Or. So I'm not really sure
that
it counts.
Is true. If
Real Madrid throw a tantrum after someone wins, does the win count? I'll take that as a yes or a no. Or a yes. Let's move on. Man City 2, Wolves 0. Mark Gahey made his debut. Omar Mamouche came back from AFCON to score a wonderful opener after a cross from Nunez. A handball was waved away. Barbara, did you happen to see this handball in this game, perchance?
No, but anytime there is calls for a handball, immediately I'm like, yes, there was one. I don't understand these refs that pretend like they can't see what's going on. Like you'll see a player trip over air and give someone their second yellow and send them off, aka what happened to Kim Min-jae last week, or during Champions League this week. But when a handball actually happens, there's so much conversation to be had about it. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're very correct with that. But I do want to make the point that Kim Min-jae thought he was in a fucking Jackie Chan movie, and it's his fault that he got sent off. Okay, like let's be very clear about that. Okay, like
he didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
You're right to defend your man. But coach, was Haaland the problem?
No, he's not the problem. I was just taking the piss. Haaland. Let me just be clear. We're in a strikers crisis, even though we're getting like a resurgence of some new blood coming through. But he is the strikiest striker in the world and the most, and one already in my mind, one of the best like in Prem history already. Like there's not even no doubt in my mind. He's just going through the variance period, and as an Arsenal fan, it annoys me that he's probably going to explode in the next game or two and start scoring goals again. Like he's missed so many ridiculous chances in the last like 4, 5, 6 games. I want to say and that's not going to last forever. City are going to create for him. He's going to start scoring goals again. So he's not the problem, basically. The problem is, however, Phil Foden. That's for sure.
Oh man, I just heard you describe Haaland as a white Mateta, and you're saying he's not a problem, but we'll see. Semenyo scored the second one in this one, and that was a wrap. We go over to the Vitality, where Bournemouth took on Liverpool in a reverse of the very first fixture of the season and beat them 3-2 with a late winner from Amin Adli after a long throw and some chaos in the box. But before that, Bournemouth were leading 2-0 thanks to some really oral-filled defending by the guy we now call him tall, light-skinned Upamecano, a.k.a. Virgil van Dijk. Barbara, do you think Virgil van Dijk is as good as Upamecano anymore?
Anymore?
Ever.
Are you kidding? Virgil van Dijk is legendary to me. I think he's amazing. Upamecano is very here and there. I will say that. Like even right now, he's in contract negotiations. It's not going very well. I think at this point, Bayern's offered him like 20 mil, and he is not agreeing with that number. He wants more. Something. They're like, that is it. We are not giving you a penny more than that. Like, I mean, listen, if you know Bayern historically, we are penny pinchers, so it makes a lot of sense.
Facts. I know.
He also wants this release clause that triggers in 2027 and not 2028, which is what I've heard that they're talking about. And it's like, you're actually just trying to see what's going to happen in the World Cup this year to see where your options are going to be for next. You ain't slick. I know what's going on. So
I mean, we talk of Real Madrid. So
I don't even think he's that great, to be honest, to be arguing back and forth for this long about the situation. But it is what it is. But at the same time, you can also say that Bayern doesn't have that very many options when it comes to pickings of the litter with defense either. But back to Virgil van Dijk, I don't see a comparison between the two. Unless you want to talk about today, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Virgil van Dijk is very legendary, so I'm not even going to put them in the same category.
He was legendarily bad against Evan Nielsen today because he saw that Brazilian and started breaking it. He was like, oh man, he likes it too. He got soft wavy hair too. I can't do nothing with this. Oh my God.
One of them has a Ballon d'Or and the other one doesn't. So
do you know what though? Like Virgil van Dijk is really, I respect the fact that obviously he's a captain, but he does every interview, like every post-match interview, and I think that's probably at this point not a good thing because he's just saying stuff. He's talking about. He's good
to look at. Get over it.
He's talking about the win. You've just caused your team to lose the game, and now you want to talk about the win. That's the last thing Liverpool fans want to hear, bro. We know what you've done for them and everything like that, but you guys are having a bad season, and now you're talking about wind. That's going to send some people over the edge, man.
like, listen, if the bald man was talking about wind after the game, they'd definitely be over the edge. So it's better it comes from a nicer source, a nicer looking source, with the ponytail, or whatever you like. It's crazy, but that Szoboszlai goal cracked me up because it's like, I mean, wait, did he put that under the wall, or was that during the week that
went
happened?
Around it. He
went around it this time. Yeah. All right, well. Anyway, shout out Bournemouth, man. Like, I didn't think they had it in them. It was beginning to look as if after they lost their best player that the season was going to peter out a bit. They went on that 11-game run where they didn't win a game, and now they're beating Liverpool. So I love it. You love it. I love it even more. On to Brentford 0, Forest 2. I didn't get to watch a lot of this. I just turned it on and saw Taiwo Awoniyi running at people, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen that in a while. I kind of miss it. I very much like it. But Brentford lost 2 players to injury early on in this one, Coach. Damsgaard and Ayer, and it kind of felt like it was a wrap from that point.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't get to see much of this as well, but I just want to say on Damsgaard, this Brentford side, a lot of the great work that they've done, Damsgaard has been at the heart of it. He's a wonderful player, man. Like he is.
He's better than Odegaard, right?
Yeah, sure, you can have it. It's fine. Whatever, I don't care. I don't care. But yeah, you lose that. I don't feel like they've got like a player that's anywhere near as good as him to come into his position. But yeah, Taiwo Awoniyi made the point safe. He just ran. It was a poor. To be honest, I feel like it was poor goalkeeping to let that through from that angle. But he quite literally just willed the ball into the net, and sometimes you do that as a striker. It goes in off sheer willpower sometimes, man.
If you ask him, and based on the celebration, Jesus did that. So
that is very true. Actually, that is very true.
Let's move right along. He should have been playing at the Emirates, but apparently he was wherever the fuck Nottingham Forest were playing today. Palace won, Chelsea 3. Now, unlike Bournemouth and Brentford, Palace's season is falling apart because this is a game that I think if this was Palace at the beginning of the season, they probably win this game. Did they not beat Chelsea away or at least tie 1-1 in a game that they probably should have won?
They drew 0-0 opening game of the season with them.
They looked horrendous against Chelsea. It was not good.
Yeah.
That's your cue to talk, coach. I don't care about this game.
No, I was saying that they drew 0-0 at opening game of the season.
Yeah, but the Esteval goal to open this game was quite good. Usually the players get caught before they finish that one.
If you watch it back, right, he did something really clever. I think his second touch, he takes it so far away from Mitchell that even if Mitchell wants to make a tackle, it's a straight red. So Mitchell had to just jockey him. But Esteval, I thought he actually took it maybe a little bit too wide, but the finish was really good. But I think it was so close to Henderson that Henderson probably should be saving it. But then his pass for João Pedro, I think, was just ridiculous. Esteval's attacking bag is really vast. He probably does it. He does it all, to be honest. He really does. But the finish from João Pedro was good after a good dummy. And another handball for a penalty. And the referees explains that he's not going to send him off because he was last man on the line. But he said he's not going to send him off because it was accidental. But if it's accidental, how can it be a pen? If his arm is by his side.
No, it is a pen because if his hand wasn't there, the ball goes in the net.
But
so you gain an advantage for your team, but because it wasn't intentional, then it doesn't have to be a red. I think that was perfect referee.
But should he cut off his arm then? Basically,
I don't give a fuck. Get your arm out the way, nigga. We try. This is football, not handball.
Can we ask an objective party here? My cat. No, I'm joking.
How are we gonna ask an objective Haitian woman that thinks she's German? I don't believe in Barbara right now. She's gonna take your
I want to ask Barbara. I actually want to ask Barbara. Like seriously, I'll paint the picture for you. The ball's bouncing. João Pedro has an open goal to shoot at, and Canvo, I believe, Canvo is on the line. Yes. And he shoots the ball, even though his arm is literally by. He shoots the ball right at his arm. What is he supposed to do? You can't give a pen for that, in my opinion.
I think you can because the ball was going in the net.
Would you give a pen for that, Barbara?
How is the ball going in the net if he was obviously like his arm was there?
Like the striker took the shot, and it was one of those. I'm gonna have to stand up a bit to demonstrate this, but his hand is like behind his body like this. He goes to block it, and the ball hits his hand. If his hand isn't there, it's going straight in the net. No obstruction whatsoever. So for me, I'm like, listen, the offensive team doesn't have to suffer because a guy accidentally used his hand to block a goal. Like now, ordinarily, if it was intentional, he gets a red for that. But he got a yellow, he got to stay on, and they conceded the penalty. I think that's a fair outcome. Because you blocked the goal. It was a certain goal. It was a certain goal. The goalkeeper wasn't there. If his hand wasn't there, it goes straight in the net. So
I mean, if you're shooting with the thought in mind that the person is going to move out of the way, or that's just a normal, natural thing for the person to do, then yes, I'm taking the shot. But if I'm standing there and I see that I don't have any other options to make this happen because there's this person in the way, then I'm also looking around me to see who else is there. Because my next question is, why are we only talking about these other two people? What happened to the other 8, on the field?
So basically, it was like a break in play. The main argument here is the fact that if it's deliberate, I give a pen all day long. Like, no problem for me. It's a foul.
I don't agree with that. I don't, even deliberate or not, I would give the pen for that.
Like, he's blocking the goal.
You're getting paid millions of dollars. Move your hand out the way.
Move your hand out the way, bro.
That's like the first rule in football is don't use your fucking hand.
So what's the point of having
the big gloves on? Move your hand out the way, bro.
But what's the point? Okay, so what's the point of having the stipulation natural position? Because they use that a lot. They use that so much.
Natural position is fine if it's not blocking an obvious ball going in the net. That's how I feel about that. Like, it can be as natural as it wants. If it's blocking a goal, it should not. It should be a penalty. I'm sorry. Like,
I think there's also a difference between like being in the, I don't know how to describe this, but like being in the way versus like you're showing that you're intentionally trying to get out of the way and it hits you anyway, if that makes sense.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah, I do. I
I think
understand that.
there's a difference between the two there. Like if you're just being defensive and it accidentally hits you, like you weren't trying to defend with your arm, well, your arm shouldn't have been there anyway. We all know that. So, but
Yeah.
if you're, let's say you're on the move and you're running and, you know, your arm is just behind you and it knocks off, I think those two situations are different.
I like Barbara. You can come back next week. You know what? When I'm ranking my favorite Haitians, it's Wyclef, then it's you. Shout,
Oh, wow.
just you
I
right
mean,
there, right there.
that's my particular order as well. So thank
You come back next week, you number one. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. So it's up to you. But yeah, Coach, I think Palace. I'm not really hopeful for the rest of their season. This game, it ended with a second yellow for Adam Wharton. Two silly tackles. I felt like it just felt like one of those games where a team loses their discipline, where they're about to stop listening to the manager type shit. That's kind of what it felt like to me. Or maybe I'm being dramatic. I don't know. What do you think?
No, when it's going bad, it goes bad. That's football. And this weekend, I think football happened to a lot of people and a lot of teams. That's how it goes. It just happened,
That's how it goes. And speaking of football happening to teams, Aston Villa went away to Newcastle and won 2-0. And it was kind of comfortable. There was a Buendia rocket in the first half, and an Ollie Watkins header in the second half, along with a bunch of other really good chances that could have extended the lead. Coach, I assume you woke up early enough to watch this?
I mean, it was on at like what 2 p.m. So yeah.
I don't know how you fucking British people live, man. Like, just answer the question.
But to be honest, I thought Newcastle would win today. I really did. I thought they'd win today. And now I'm looking at Eddie Howe a little bit like, you're doing well in the Champions League, but I know your owner have been itching to fire you for a minute. Like they really want to find somebody else. Like, I think he's probably taking them as far as they can. And he keeps complaining about PSR, but no one asked you to spend, 100 million on Freddie Gibbs and what do you call it? What's the other guy? The tall German fella. Michael Ballack's nephew.
Like Kai Havertz.
No, for real. So when you talk about, we haven't got money to spend, you're spending 40 million on Elanga and Jacob Ramsey. Are you like, what? Come on, like, you could have found better, bro. Like, especially Elanga. It's like, I don't want to hear the complaints. You wasted these good people's money. that's
good people. Need that word.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I don't want to get introduced to a bone saw before 2030. Maybe after that, that's fine. But yeah, like, honestly, in theory, the Elanga signing made sense to me. I don't know why it hasn't worked out. He seemed like it was perfect for their style. It didn't work out. Today, they didn't get to play Bruno Guimaraes. He picked up an ankle injury in the Champions League game. So I think that was probably a big factor in them not being able to win this game. But even so, you would think they had enough to get past a team that's also missing Boubacar Kamara at the base of their midfield. So yeah, it's a weird result, but Aston Villa were good value for the win, for sure. They dominated the game. Watkins missed a bunch of chances, finally scored one. Yeah. And Buendia, he's good for a golazo, and he got one today. So shout out to them on that one. And finally, carry on, Barbara. You were gonna say?
Not much, but I'm happy for Aston Villa. I do think that they have, this is a girl thing, but they have one of the most handsome players on their team. So if I were to ever watch a Premier League or cheer for one, they would probably be for them.
I need a clue. Is he black or white?
He's black. Amadou Onana. I think he's
I had a feeling you say that.
I think he is one of the most handsome footballers right now.
You know what? I'll let that slide because, dark skin supremacy, but it's okay. Arsenal 2, Man United 3. If you're listening to this, you probably already heard the Arsenal edition, but if you haven't, press pause, go listen to that, and come back and finish this. Coach, I think we pretty much said everything we need to say on this.
We did like an hour and 10 minutes on that pod.
Right, and we've gone pretty long on this episode as well. So we'll just leave it to Barbara. I imagine that even though you don't follow the Prem, you do pay attention to the biggest games, and this feels like it was a big one. Arsenal lost. Did you get to watch it? Any thoughts? What'd you see?
I didn't watch it, but I will say that I am sad for you guys because any moment I have to hate Man United, I take it. So, yeah, that's really unfortunate. I just have a personal thing with how
They
people
treated
call
us
Bundesliga a farmers league, but then Man United steals every single person on our roster possible, and then they do the best that they can. They got their win this week. You know,
Good for them. Good for them. Yeah.
moving on.
If you guys are the farmers, then I think that would make Man United like the Monsanto of football. They're responsible for all my canned goods. Shout out United. But yeah, if you want to listen to our thoughts on that game in more detail, please go listen to the Arsenal edition. Everton and Leeds play on Monday to wrap up the fixtures in England. Coach, please hit us with the standings. Thank you.
Well, this is kind of boring because despite losing, Arsenal are still top.
Oh wow!
I know, on 50 points. That's
I did not see that coming.
And then we have Man City in second on 46 points. Villa also on 46 points. Look, I'm just gonna say this, yeah. I know we cuss Emery a lot, but I think Villa could really, really push City for second place. I'll be real with you. I really think it'll be so fun. Wouldn't it be funny if we finally get over the line, and if not for us, Emery would have won the league? Do you know how funny that would be?
You know what? I'm not in a laughing mood today, Coach. Just wrap up your fucking point and let's go. Your shit.
United are now ahead of both Chelsea and Liverpool on 38 points. Chelsea on 37 points. Liverpool are 6 on 36 points. Between 10th and 4th, it's only 5 points. So in the next 2 game weeks, Sunderland could potentially be in 4th place. Who knows?
Who knows? I said we wrap this up. It's been an hour and a half, guys. Yeah. That's plenty of yapping. And Barbara, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have anything that you would like to tell the listeners before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I'm happy to come back anytime. And for all who are listening, Mia san Mia. And just check me out on social media at BarbaraSatine. I've got a lot more coming for you.
That's what's up. I don't know what Mia san Mia means, so I'll take it as an insult. So she will not be back next week.
He knows what it means. He's being an idiot. He knows exactly what it means.
In any event, folks, you know what to tell the people, Coach.
Peace.